The Coconut Oil Miracle 5th Edition by Bruce Fife. Chapter 2, Understanding Fats. In this chapter, I describe the differences between saturated and unsaturated fats and explain the reason why coconut oil is different from all the rest. Since the uniqueness of each oil depends on its chemical makeup, I am forced to describe the differences in chemical terms. Unfortunately, when chemistry is discussed, it is easy for those people who lack a scientific background to become confused. Please bear with me. I will make my explanation simple enough for the layperson to understand. If you get confused, that's okay. Skim through the material and go on to the end of the chapter. The purpose of this chapter is to provide you with the scientific foundation, but you don't need to know chemistry in order to benefit from using coconut oil. Triglycerides and fatty acids. Doctors often use the term lipid in referring to fat. Lipid is a general term that includes several fat-like compounds in the body. By far, the most abundant and most important lipids are the triglycerides. When we speak of fats and oils, we are usually referring to triglycerides. Two other lipids, phospholipids and sterols, which include cholesterol, technically are not fats because they are not triglycerides, but they have similar characteristics and are often referred to as fats. What is the difference between a fat and an oil? The term fat and oil are often used interchangeably. Generally speaking, the only real difference is that fats are considered solid at room temperature, while oils remain liquid. Lard, for example, would be referred to as a fat, while corn oil is called an oil. Both, however, are fats. When you cut into a steak, the white fatty tissue you see is composed of triglycerides. Cholesterol is also present, but it is intermingled within the meat fibers and undetectable with the naked eye. The fact that this is a nuisance to us, the type that hangs on to our arms, looks like jelly on our thighs, and can make your stomach look like a spare tire, is composed of triglycerides. It is the triglycerides that make up of our body fat and the fat we see and eat in our foods. About 90% of the lipids in our diet from both plant and animal sources are triglycerides. Triglycerides are composed of individual fat molecules known as fatty acids. It takes 3 fatty acid molecules to make a single triglyceride molecule. Fatty acids are linked together by a single glycerol molecule. The glycerol molecule acts as a backbone, so to speak, for the triglyceride. There are dozens of different types of fatty acids. Scientists have grouped these into 3 general categories: saturated, monosaturated, and polyunsaturated. Each category contains several members. So there are many types of saturated fat, just as there are many types of monosaturated and polyunsaturated fats. Each of the fatty acids, regardless of whether it is saturated or not, affects the body differently, and it exerts different influences on health. Therefore, one saturated fat may have adverse health effects, while another may promote better health. The same is true of monosaturated and polyunsaturated fats. For example, olive oil has been hailed as one of the good fats because of the people who eat it in place of the other oils have less heart disease. Olive oil is composed primarily of monounsaturated fatty acid called oleic acid. However, not all monounsaturated fats are healthy. Another monounsaturated fatty acid, known as erucic acid, is extremely toxic to the heart, more so than perhaps any other fatty acid known. Belitz and Grosch in 1999. The difference between the two chemically is very slight. Likewise, some polyunsaturated fatty acids can also cause problems. On the other hand, the saturated fatty acids that are found in coconut oil have no harmful effects and actually promote better health. So we cannot say one oil is bad because it's saturated while another is good because it's monosaturated or polyunsaturated. It all depends on the type of fatty acids and not simply on its degree of saturation. No dietary oil is purely saturated or unsaturated. All natural fats and oils consist of a mixture of these three classes of fatty acids. To say an oil is saturated or monosaturated is a gross oversimplification. Olive oil is often called monosaturated because it is predominantly monosaturated, but like all vegetable oils, it also contains some polyunsaturated and saturated fat as well. Animal fats are generally the highest in saturated fat. Vegetable oils contain saturated fat as well as monosaturated and polyunsaturated fat. Most vegetable oils are highly in polyunsaturated fats, or high in. The exception being palm and coconut oils, which are very high in saturated fat. Coconut oil contains as much as 92% saturated fat, more than any other fat, including beef and lard. There are many factors that contribute to the helpfulness of each type of fat. Its saturation, the size of the carbon chain, and its susceptibility to peroxidation and free radical generation.